What up, YouTube? It's your boy Malt Frazier in the building, and we got some track and field to talk about today. The Athlos track and field event took place over the weekend, and your boy saw Athlos last year on TV, and I decided, you know what, man, I'm going to New York City and I'm gonna check it out myself. So I got some clips to share with y'all today from what I saw at the meet. And for those who don't know, Athlos is an all-women's track and field event, and it was started by Athlos Nyc, who's most famous for being the co-founder of Reddit and also Serena Williams' husband. Athlos, I think, really has something special on his hands here, just because over the last few years we've seen a lot of people try to push track and field forward. You had your Grand Slam tracks of the world started by Michael Johnson, and they did a lot of great things. They didn't get it all right, but a lot of people making efforts to make this sport bigger. Treat the athletes like the world class athletes that they are, and also getting them paid right. And so Athlos, he came in with that business background. He's got a whole bunch of amazing sponsors to be a part of the event, whether it was Cash App, you had Instacart, Tiffany, amongst others. So Athlos is really doing his part and getting a lot of eyes on the event, and the promotion was great. Like, they did a long jump event in Times Square the day before the real meet, and Athlos is on all the Good Morning shows promoting it on First Take, Good Morning America, and so on. And so that's been one of the challenges in track and field. A lot of people don't know when races are taking place, and so I thought the overall promotion for the event was sensational, and I think Athlos really got something big potentially brewing with Athlos. Now, as far as the event goes, this was unlike any track and field event I've ever been to, and I say that because they really did a good job of making this feel like an event as opposed to just a track meet, right? Like when you go to an NBA game or an NFL game, you might have your people who are really diehard fans and are really there to see the game, but then there's some people who are just, casually watching, or they're just out because that's the place to be that night, and they just want to have a good time. And so I think there was a little bit of something for everybody at this event. And so when you pull up to the event, there's a meet and greet line for Sha'Carri Richardson. She's signing autographs, taking pictures with fans. You got a red carpet, all of your favorite track athletes pulling up and, really being showcased for everybody. And then when you get inside, man, it's a whole bunch of great food, drinks, and they even had a fruit bar. I'm talking about, they're handing out bags so that you can take fruit home for free. And then they had complimentary smoothies. I had a mango pineapple smoothie myself. It was so good I had to come back for another one. And, so it was a whole bunch of things that contributed to the fan experience that really made the event special. DJ Drama was the DJ, very well-known DJ, and he got the vibes right. Transition between the different events was really smooth as well. And something else that really added to the fan experience to me was just all the celebrities that they were able to get to come out, right? Like, we had Serena Williams as the host. So she's the person that was, interviewing all of the athletes after they won their races. You had Noah Lyles, who I would say is probably the face of track and field. He pulled up just to support and show love. He was throwing T-shirts in the crowd for the fans and whatnot. Like, we only see that really at basketball games for the most part. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, Queen Latifah, Tracy Morgan, Russell Wilson was there, and Sierra closed the show and gave us a concert to end the event. So as far as fan experience, I mean, this was an amazing event. And I mean, I had a great time. It looked like everybody else was having a great time. But as far as, a track and field event, I don't think we've seen most of those things at a track and field event. So I thought it was really cool that a lot of star power came out to support this and really to move the sport forward, right? Now, as far as the competition goes, like, I wasn't really sure what to expect from the ladies. Most of these ladies are coming off of world championships just 2 weeks ago. So all of them are really trying to get themselves ready to, compete for gold medals and run their fastest times there. So I wasn't really expecting, a whole bunch of crazy times being run or any records to be broken or anything like that. But at the same time, the way Athlos is set up, Cash App was giving away $250,000 for anyone who broke a world record. And the winners of each of the races are leaving with $60,000. and also a Tiffany crown, which who knows what that's worth, right? Like, I mean, so they, the winner was leaving with a nice check and, some good hardware too. And second place got 25,000 as well. And that's big boy money for track and field. Like, I think the most that these athletes are typically getting is, off of their sponsors, whether it be like a Nike or Adidas or some other sponsorship they have. So, to be able to come away with that kind of money off off of a meet, man, can't beat that. So with that said, let's jump into these races. We started off with the 100 hurdles, and we had a real tight race in that one. But the queen of the 100 hurdles this year, Masairussell, the second fastest woman all time in that event, she came away with the victory, running 12:52, and she had Grace Stark right on her tail, but she was able to edge that one out and get the victory. And the cool thing about after they win, they get to go up on stage. The DJ plays some music for them. Serena Williams asks them a few questions, and they get their Tiffany crown, right? They get crowned in front of everybody, and they get to do their little dance and celebrate with the fans, which also, again, adds to the fan experience. You get to see some of your favorite athletes' personality and engage with the crowd a little bit. So that was really cool. And Masai did her thing. She had a great year. So really, really good season for her. On the second event, we had the long jump going in between the events, and Tara Davis Woodhall, man, she is incredible, great personality. She had the long jump going in Times Square the day before, and she got the win on Friday. So, and I believe her last jump was her second best jump all time. She had a 7:13 for that one, and got the crowd really turned up. Like, Tara Davis Woodhall, they need to continue to feature her as one of those people to push the sport of track and field, because she's got a really big personality. And I mean, for most people, I don't know that they get too excited about the long jump per se. And so the fact that, she can get people kind of interested in that, I think that's pretty incredible. So shout out to Tara Davis Woodhall. She put on a great show, great performance. And for her to have one of her best jumps, and, the people who attended got to see that, really awesome. Next up was the 800-meter race, and the 800 meter is going to be really exciting moving forward. I feel like, just because Femke Bol just announced that she's going to be doing the 800 moving forward, coming from the 400 hurdles. So it's definitely going to add some intrigue there. A lot of great competition in that 800. But Keely Hodgkinson, she came away with the victory, and that was a pretty thrilling race, honestly. Keely is the Olympic champion, and she got a meet record running a 1:56:53. So she did her thing, and really represented as the Olympic champion at this event. And breaking a record at this event was big, just because they all coming off of world championships. So any like big time is a really big deal. And then after the 800, we had the 1 mile run. And when I was younger, I really didn't care for the long distance runs like that, but just, I guess, having, being a runner myself, I like to, get on the treadmill and run, or run the lake, whatever. I got a great appreciation for these long distance runners. I mean, it's a real grind, and the fact that, these ladies can run 4-minute miles is like ridiculous to me. It take me about 9 minutes to do that. So, I mean, it's just a lot of respect there for that event for me. So, Faith got the W there, ran a 4:17:78, and second place was 4:19:75. So 1 and 2 was right on each other. We had Nikki Hiltz in that one. The fans were showing Nikki a lot of love. She came in third, but 1 and 2, that was where it was at. And Faith, she's been balling out all year. So this was the fastest ever women's outdoor mile on U.S. soil. So again, another athlete that really just brought it for the Athlos meet, and we talking about creating history, right? Like, that is an amazing time. But, again, to have the season that these ladies have had, and, be running, times that have never been run, incredible. So a lot of respect to Faith. That was exciting to see. Now, if there was an MVP for the Athlos meet, it would have to be Brittanybrown. She was incredible. She came away with not one win, she came away with 2 wins. Won the 100 meter, and she was the only person to run sub 11 seconds, ran a 10:99, which was the season's best, I believe. And then she went on to win the 200 and she ran a personal best of 21:89. Now, Brittany Brown won the bronze medal in the 200 last year at the Olympics. She wasn't able to get on the podium at World Championships. We know she's been, battling injuries throughout the year, but to put it all together at the end of the season like that, she wins 120K and 2 Tiffany crowns. I mean, whoo-wee. She probably feeling a lot better about not getting some of that World Championships, I would think, because I mean she came away with some good stuff. And Jason Sears was right up on her. Jason Sears got second, but Brittany Brown, man, MVP at Athlos, truly impressive. For her to run into events in general, but also winning both of them. She ran in the 100 and 200 last year, and she won the 200 and beat out Gabby Thomas, which was impressive. But to come back the following year, and she said, "I'm not just leaving here with something. I'm leaving here with everything." You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to Brittany Brown. And last but not least, we had the women's 400 meters, and we would have loved to see Miss Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni, but she's got to get a recovery. She had a great season, you know what I'm saying. So the Queen's got to rest up, But we still had, the second and third fastest women in the 400 meters, Marlady Paulino and Saweed Nasser. So anytime those two ladies is on the track together, you're guaranteed to get a really good race. They always push each other. And Marlady Paulino, hey, she did her thing. Came away with the W. She ran almost under 50 seconds. And Saweed Nasser came away with second place there. And so that was a great way to close out the event. The women's 400 is pretty much always very competitive. And you never know what times they're going to end up running. Now, with that event, Saweed Nasser and Paulino, they've been running hard all year long. They ain't had no breaks. So I certainly wasn't expecting them to run the times they ran a couple of weeks ago at World Championships. But still, very competitive race. Ran some great times. And, it was a lot of love for Paulino and from the Dominican Republic fans for sure. So, tremendous way to close it out right before we got to see Sierra tear up the stage and show a lot of love. So this was a tremendous event. I think this is really a great start, to really push the sport of track and field forward. Everybody loves track and field, when the Olympics comes around, and then it's like it gets kind of forgotten until the next Olympics, right? And so, Athlos has big plans. I believe next year they're going to have more than one race. And, some of the athletes are even a part of the ownership, like Sha'Carri Richardson, Tara Davis-Will, and Gabby Thomas. Like, they're going to be building this into more of a league as opposed to a one-time event. So, they got some great momentum rolling. And, Alexis, I think he's the right person to lead this, right? Like, he's equipped from the business side of things. He's got the right connections, the resources, and, he got the money too, right? And then, obviously being married to Serena Williams, arguably the greatest female athlete in the history of sports. I mean, what a great person to have by your side, trying to build this thing, right? So, I think the sky is the limit. Now, their plan is to become profitable by 2028 when we have the LA 2028 Olympics. And so I think that's a great plan just because you don't want to grow this too fast. You're building interest, you got a lot of star power that's intrigued by Athlos, and the athletes are building their names. And I think as long as they take their time building this has a chance to really have some good longevity. And I really hope it gets bigger because, I hope the men get, some type of league in this too. Obviously we love the women's sports, but, track and field is not one of those sports that the men aren't doing so well that we can just ignore them. So, I hope that, Noah Lyles being there, maybe that's the beginning of, some talks and of them building, some sort of men's league or a men's event somewhere down the line. Obviously, let's let the ladies have their shine. This was built for them. And, it was great. And I'm going to keep supporting it. I loved what I experienced. So, y'all let me know what y'all thought about Athlos if you were able to watch the meet. This was a great way to end off the track and field season. Very celebratory experience, I would say. So, I'm really excited about, the future of this event and just track and field in general, right? We're going to miss track and field for a few months, but, it'll be back strong next year, and, we'll be here to cover it. So, I'll holla at y'all soon. Malt Frazier out. Peace.